You are listening to the 2.5 Weebs podcast, a show where two veteran anime fans drag a newbie down the rabbit hole of waifus, isekai, and fan service, as well as the happenings in the gaming world. The show is recorded every Sunday live on the Mixer channels of Comfimus and Mr. Vengeance. Enjoy.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another week of 2.5 Weebs. We missed last week unexpectedly, so we're sorry about that. It happens, though. We had some things, but we're here now. Comfy, Copper. How are you guys?
I'm good.
Moo woo.
So, let's start off for a disclaimer for people. We are going to be switching the show we're going to be covering weekly.
Yes.
Not because the show is awful, like some of the ones we've had in the past.
I mean...
But
it is just
it is.
We cannot, in good conscience, push and promote a show that we cannot show to people under the age of 18 when we know that our viewership has people under the age of 18.
Yeah, so we can't do that. Now, I had read the manga for this show because I wanted to do due diligence and make sure it didn't feed into porn. But the manga, however, is very tame in comparison of how they're pushing the show. To the point that
I want to back up Copper here because he did literally just send me the manga. I would probably be ripping him apart if I didn't read through it. There's literally nothing in the manga panels for this that would indicate that they were showing full-blown porn.
Yeah, like it was it's so different to the episode 3. So we'll cover that in a second because we have episode 2 to talk about as well. So this show isn't awful. We're not going to go super deep into these episodes. The show has been knocked off of Funimation thanks to episode 3.
It has been like literally you can't watch this shit anymore.
But it's harder to watch it now.
It's definitely
a huge
they
lost their official translator and everything.
Yeah.
So pursuing it afterwards will be mostly fan subs and that sort of thing. Which is back in the dark.
This will probably come out on a DVD as well, like they normally do.
Oh, it absolutely will, and it's going to be a cult classic because of it. I guarantee it.
Especially since there is the uncensored version as well. So what they were doing with this show, and there are still people I would recommend this show to. I'm not going to name their names because I think they're sitting in our chats. But I know,
who you are.
And I know Dale was playing one with one of them earlier today who plays Destiny. So there are people who are still going to enjoy the show, but
my God,
the content is getting pushed in such a way away from the source material that makes it too hard to recommend on
a broader
this
audience.
Program.
We can't. We're not going to cover it anymore. It legit was basically
there's an age. You need to be of a certain age for the show.
It was episode 3 devolved into softcore porn.
Yeah,
just
like
that's what it is.
It was. Now I've shown these guys the manga of episode 3 that it covers.
The manga does not have any nudity.
7. It doesn't have any nudity at all. It's
literally bare. Like the jump is so aggressive between the two.
It's such a big. Like they don't check each other, bodies out or anything like that they show in the show. It's like a huge divergence. Now normally I think the reason they did this is normally each of these episodes covers 2 chapters of the manga because the manga is only about 4 pages long each one. However, this one they only covered 1 chapter 7. So because they did that, they had to fill space, so they decided to fill that space by
filling that space,
elaborating on what was going on to a point where in the censored version, it literally cuts to a black screen. It says, "We hope you enjoy this black screen because we can't show you anything."
Yeah.
But don't worry. We now know that the slime girls can get deeper. So
stop. No, I don't want to actually discuss anything about that episode. They turn into girls and get like
and you can breathe through the slime.
Oh God.
So
that's all. That's it. I'm done. Like
that's all you guys are getting. If you want to go watch it, go watch it.
I will
discuss the Moo episode. I will not discuss that one.
We don't need to discuss the Moo episode. The whole thing.
The show is still funny. It's still well written. It's still well animated. It's still super bright and colorful. Like all the good points are still there. It's just the content is going to a very mature place where we can't cover it anymore.
Going to now.
I said going to for episode 3. Episode 4 is back to the manga, which is weird. So I don't know what they were thinking with 3. I really don't. It's
so you've already seen episode 4.
I went and watched episode 4 to see if it
For
diverged
science.
as
Yep.
much.
You were just curious.
And
yeah,
it didn't diverge any. Like it's the same as the source material. Again, it's just like episodes 1 and episodes 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it took those 6 chapters and kept them faithful. It's just this chapter 7 it decided went meh. Like it's weird. Like like is it because it was the gender swap? Like so it was like
that might have been part of it.
So I really want to know their reasoning, and they'll probably come out and say something about this because they have been booted off Funimation,
which is that's a big And so that obviously people were asking, well, why did it get picked up by Funimation in the first place? Didn't they know what they were getting themselves into?
Well, that's the thing. If they look at the source material, it's
even then, like the show is a little rough. The show's a little rough ahead of that, anyways. But the thing is that a lot of these companies, Funimation, Crunchyroll, and Hulu, and all of that, when they see shows pop up, they immediately grab them if there's any leverage that people have had. So the manga was apparently picking up steam. People were liking it. So they saw that it was getting turned into an anime, and they grabbed the rights to it as soon as possible because otherwise they'd be competing with these other companies.
Yep.
So, and when you have a gold rush like that, you can't really do due diligence in what you're marketing and what you're grabbing. And so even with what we see here, regardless of if they did due diligence, it definitely veers away from what you would have expected. So
I think if they did just like I did, if they went and looked through all the manga, they would have went, okay, this pushed the envelope a little bit in places, but it doesn't evolve into even softcore porn at any point. Yeah. Like it doesn't show full on nudity. It doesn't show any no penetration, no nothing like that. Like it is in the manga. It's just a normal manga that's a little raunchy. Mm-hmm. There's other animations that are like that as well. And
well, it's because this is also made by the same studio that currently makes High School DxD, which I've been watching
DxD
recently. There is boobs in the opening. Like you don't watch that show without seeing boobs. There is not a censored version. It is what it is, and it very much so leans into that a lot. And so, seeing that and seeing this show, I definitely expect it.
Yeah, there are other raunchy shows out there, and I think they looked at the company's track record and said, okay, they make raunchy stuff, but they keep it in the line. And this episode 3, they decided to diverge from the source material, and it cost them. And I'm curious to see if they're going to make an official statement about that or not. I want to know what they were thinking.
Funimation's official statement was that it fell outside their values, which I 100% understand.
Yeah, from a company standpoint, once you go where they took that episode, they can't show it anymore.
Right.
Now, did Funimation have the uncensored version up?
No, they did not.
Okay.
They
probably saw the uncensored version and decided, nope, is my guess.
Yeah, it's not something that Funimation can really put on their service. I mean, even Crunchyroll, when they put uncensored versions of shows, they usually put it behind an 18+ barrier.
Yes.
So, regardless of if it was there or not, there was going to have to be some just extra steps taken.
Now, I would like to see some streaming service pick this show up.
I know
it is a good show. There is, I'm in Canada, so I don't have to worry about the same legalities that you guys do in the States.
No.
For me to watch stuff on streaming stuff that's would be considered illegal down there is not illegal up here. Thanks for law differences. So I can still watch this elsewhere, right? But I would like to see it picked up because it's still a good show, despite that one episode. That episode is not bad. It's just too adult for.
It's very strong.
It's too strong, too adult for something like Funimation. If Crunchyroll picked it up, stuck behind an 18, barrier,
18+ barrier,
still be fine. mean, Pornhub could pick up the uncensored version if they wanted to, for fuck's sake. Like,
I'd expect that from like Faku or Haname. You know.
Either way,
Notice I don't bring up Hentai Haven because it doesn't really exist. Let's stop lying to ourselves, Addison.
yeah, they got shut down for copyright violations and stuff.
They got shut down for a lot of things.
Yes.
But yeah, no. So I think we beat a dead horse at this point.
Yeah, so we did watch episode 2, which involves some Minotaur girls who are
Cow Minotaur girls,
exceptionally well endowed, and milk is a thing. I don't think we need to really go into that since we're going to be changing shows. But
there was milk everywhere. Moo. That's the end.
This whole Copper says that it is a good show. I disagree. I don't think that it is worth. No, unless you know exactly what you're looking for.
That's why I said there are certain people,
but at the same time,
that this show is definitely for, and I would recommend it, and we know quite a few of them.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Is it for everyone? God, no. Like,
it's not for Dale. This is not a Dale show. This is not a comfy show.
This is not a you're new to anime show. This is not a,
hey, why don't we
slightly uncomfortable? Like, if you're slightly uncomfortable with lewd stuff, this show's not for you. If you super enjoyed lewd things, jump right in. You'll like this show.
We should watch a wholesome anime about a cute girl and her boyfriend that is way too old for her.
Oh God. No, we've already discussed it. We're gonna start.
Lagoon?
No, we're gonna be watching the what is the name of that show?
Inspector?
In the Inspector show. Yeah, it was one of the other ones that we discussed as the possibility of the show that we follow. Yes. So we already know that what we're going to be doing this week is catching up on that show. However many episodes that is. That'll be
we can
3
catch
or
up
4
on that show.
Watch.
I think they're...
I have been hearing some good things about it. And apparently there's a manga arc that people really, really wanted, and they started on it super early, so people are excited.
Mm-hmm.
So they're on episode 4.
Okay, so that'll
be this week. So
that'll work.
We should speed to episode 5, or
I mean, we'll watch whatever
when it comes out, because then we'll be caught up.
5 might be out by the time we.
I think it's a Friday release.
I think it's a Friday or Saturday release.
If it is a Friday or Saturday release, we need to catch it. We need to be caught up with it.
Yeah, then we'll be fine, because that's only 4 episodes. We normally watch.
Cherry is saying that it airs Saturday.
Saturday? Okay.
We can do that.
Okay.
We can absolutely do that.
So we'll cover those 4.
Yep.
We'll be catching up this week.
So that will be what we do. We will catch up with that show. What is the name of it? Like
Inspector. So in and then slash and then specters and like a ghost.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's such a good pun name. I love it.
I got it. I got you. Yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
and
what we're gonna be watching.
It's also apparently very cute and wholesome, as well as being ghost spooky. So
okay.
The one thing I know that's going to bug me about this show is the color palette. I know that's going to bother me.
It is a very weird color palette. From what I've seen, it gets better and it gets more pastel.
See, it's the pastel and the desaturation I do not like.
See, I like pastel palettes. I really do. I don't know why.
I don't like something that's super desaturated. Especially since I tend to watch on my computer and I have IPS screens, so if something is desaturated, it looks desaturated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Copper has the screens that are more expensive than anything in my computer. So,
for color
a little bit of an exaggeration, but pretty damn close.
Yeah, so my monitors are they're only 60 hertz. So I play everything in 60 frames because
I play in like 120.
For me, it's the color reproduction, right? Because this is my work computer, so they have to reproduce colors exactly as the color,
right?
Be it RGB or CMYK, and CMYK is the more important one because CMYKs are less saturated than RGB.
Yeah.
So having a screen that can reproduce that color properly matters quite a bit, especially if you're doing merch stuff.
Yes, man. Nobody did any merch stuff recently. It'd be crazy. We'll get to that one later.
So the other thing we looked at,
what show did we watch?
We watched Black Lagoon.
So Black Lagoon, for those who don't know, because they weren't here for that episode or just haven't heard of the show, is another anime that is made by the same people who made Cowboy Bebop, one of the more famous animes. Black Lagoon, I don't think it's aged as well.
It didn't age as well just because of the content. I still very much enjoyed it.
Yes, I still like the show quite a bit.
It was 100% like, so Cowboy Bebop is if they took like a cyberpunk like Jazzscape and just made it an anime. And then this is like they took a Vietnam War scape and made it an anime. And man, there was nothing that really beat them jumping a boat into a helicopter.
No, they didn't jump the boat into the helicopter. They
Yeah.
jumped the boat into the air to shoot the torpedo.
That was the peak. Like that was so good.
That was pretty cool. Like that was I mean unbelievable, but like
oh yeah, that's like it's as anime as it can get.
Yeah.
It's over the top. It's over the top in the same way that action movies are over the top. So it makes like that's the aesthetic they're going here is that action movie vibe type thing.
Yeah, like Fast and Furious would have done this, and they yeah.
Oh, Fast and Furious is American anime. Let's not lie to ourselves.
It's a live action American anime. That's what Fast and Furious is.
It's terrible.
Speaking of live action animes, we'll get to that later.
We have to talk about that as well. So this is a good show. It's older. There are some things.
Animation does hold up for the most part.
Yes, the character designs are showing their age, especially when it comes to Rock. I think his is the one that's the most showing of his age. Cowboy Bebop doesn't suffer from this as much because they set it in the future.
Characters in Bebop
right?
are very interesting.
Their characters in Bebop are a lot more stylized in certain ways because they set of the setting itself, right? Because it's set in the future, it's a sci-fi. They were able to stylize the characters because they could stylize the whole world, right?
Spike is unique,
but where here, as Comfy said, they're kind of doing that 80s,
it's a very 70s, 80s Vietnam War vibe.
So because of that, there's a certain style set they kind of have to stick to, and they do, which is great. Everything fits. But
very good thematically, and they keep the palette well, and it's also not super desaturated, so you're welcome.
Yes. So because of that, though, because they stuck to their stylization of where they're at the period, the characters do show their age a bit more in certain designs.
For example, Rock literally just looks like a grown-up version of Shinji from Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah, there is a bit of that in there too. It's oof. The other characters though look better than him, I find. But yeah, overall, it's a good show. Like
I enjoyed it.
Is good. The action is good. Like everything's animated super well, which I kind of expected.
The helicopter was very clearly a cut and paste because they didn't have budget for it.
Yes.
But other than that, the animation fully held up. It was very pretty. It was clearly hand animated, and they took great care of it. Like, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I would thoroughly recommend it.
Yeah, if you like action anime, you're gonna like this. The main character starts off a bit whiny, but he nips that in the bud super quick, which is awesome.
Yeah,
he starts off as like a little bitch, and then at the end of episode 3, he literally like talks to the company that like sent him to his death, and he's like, "No, screw you guys. This is my life now. I'm gonna be a pirate."
So this show starts where you have the main character who ends up adopting the name Rock. I don't remember what his actual name is. He's on a ship delivering.
And the guy can't pronounce it, so he just calls him Rock.
Yeah.
He's
on a ship delivering a disc for a big corporation that he works for, and the ship gets taken over by pirates, and they kidnap him and make him a hostage.
Because what was the girl's name?
I don't know.
I forget. It's been over a week now.
So the girl. So there were 3 members of the pirates. Revy, that's it. Thank you. So Revy, the female member of the pirates, basically grabs him and is like, "Listen, he's obviously important because he's the guy carrying the disc. We're gonna put him on our boat, and he's gonna be a hostage. Worst case scenario, we have an extra body. Best case scenario, we get an extra payday."
Yeah, she was thinking like we can just ransom him back to the company as well as get the disc, so we make extra bonus money. Like,
as with most American corporations, Japanese corporations also don't care about their employees, though. So didn't really work out as well as she was expecting.
She also didn't think any of it through.
Oh, absolutely not.
She immediately gets confronted with like, "Well, have you considered how to contact your company?" No.
No.
Have you considered how you're going to get the money from them? Have you set up a bank account that can't be traced or anything? She's like, no. He's like, she's like, well, why don't I just kill him now then? Just this, like, solve the problem.
He's like, wait, no, you can't do it. That is like, this is where he's still like figuring everything out. They all, when they slowly realize that, they decide to just go to a bar, and the pirates are like, listen, you want to just come get a drink? Because you're in this with us now, so let's go, champ.
Yeah, they're on a, like, they go to like a pirate island thing, and they're like, okay, we're going to a bar to drink. He's like, well, aren't I a hostage? Like,
not really.
Like, but we're leaving, so do you want to come get a drink?
Exactly.
He could have fucked off at that point, but he's like,
which is absolutely one of my favorite character dynamics, which is, yeah, you're supposed to be a hostage, but we don't really care enough, so just come hang out.
It's like,
which is great. And then obviously, because the Japanese corporation really does care about their employee, they sent an entire mercenary group after him to kill him.
Well, not just him. They wanted to kill everybody. They wanted to
kill the three of them and get back the disc, because the disc apparently has information on it that is very damaging to the company, which basically shows that the company has been involved in selling nuclear weapons to somebody who's not supposed to have them, and that would be very, very bad. So they're like, we need this back.
There was straight up a phone call, which we skipped over, where he gets on the phone with his manager and he's like, what's going on? I don't understand. The manager's like, well, you're going to die anyways, so I might as well tell you. We were selling nukes and you got caught up in it. Sorry, champ. And he just straight up is like, yeah, you're not making it back, so I might as well just tell you what's going on.
He's like, yeah, so here's the lowdown of what's going on and what was on the disc. You're going to die. Don't worry. We're going to handle your funeral arrangements. It's going to be very nice. We'll make sure,
I'll even make sure the president of the company shows up to your funeral.
They're like, we're going to promote you a couple places into management, like posthumously, and then, give your payout from your death to your family. So they'll be okay. You'll be dead, but you'll get a proper burial and everything.
Yeah, it was pretty shitty.
He's like, okay.
He's just like, yeah, well, sorry, dude.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, they have a big old shootout, which was very well animated. It reminded me of the one of the bar scenes in Attack on Titan that I really liked, where they're just hiding behind the bar and like yelling at people. I definitely didn't fall to my death. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it was good. I think one of my favorite things was like Revy challenges Rock to a drinking contest, and he's like, "You don't understand how much I drink in the corporate world. I have to."
It's like they force us to drink at parties. Like,
yeah,
let's go.
He's like, I hate drinking. I drank in college. I have to drink at corporate parties, and you're making me drink here. Like, he just gets mad and just completely goes shot for shot with her the entire time.
Yeah.
Which is very funny, because up to this point he has been a very meek person, and this is him first getting out of his shell.
Yeah.
Like, this is the first time he's really shown that he is more than a suit with sad emotions. Which is great, because he's more than that. Every character is more than their stereotype, obviously. But
yeah. So yeah, and then you get that like hit squad that shoots up the whole bar. They escape, they get on their boat, and they run away. And then it ends the first episode when the helicopter shows up and kind of does a couple pass-bys and shoots at them, like, well, this is bad. And then
the helicopter, continuing on to episode 2, the helicopter's chasing them around, and it forces them, while they're trying to escape, that they have to go into a river. And the problem being with a river is rivers have endings.
Yes, so they can't escape.
They're going in, and they're going to have to come back out at some point, but they don't know what to do. Rock, being the genius that he is, says, hey, did you see that boat that's overturned over there? Why don't we use it like a ramp and shoot torpedoes into the helicopter?
Because they have torpedo tubes on the ship, and they're making fun of it. They're like, why didn't we get rid of these fucking torpedo tubes? Because now they'll blow up and blow us all up. So yeah, as Comfy said, they fucking animate this shit and drive the boat onto the shore and ramp an overturned boat, and then get up high enough to shoot the torpedoes at the helicopter and blow up the helicopter.
And they absolutely smack the dude in the face with it. And of course, the helicopter pilot had every advantage and only lost because he was being a jackass. Which is
they decided
anime
not,
against.
like they were playing with them basically and decided not to
If they pushed, they would have won. It's kind of like when an enemy team doesn't push in trials, and then the enemy reses them, and then they just lose because they had a 3-1 advantage, but then all of a sudden you gave them too much time because you're a cocky asshole.
Yeah, they purposely didn't like blow up the ship anytime they could have. Like they never used missiles on it or anything like that because they're like they wanted to play with them. Like they're
Didn't
like
he say
playing
at one
cat
point,
and
it's
mouse.
like, how often is it that you have this much fun?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he was. I did watch the dub, by the way. I want to be clear about that because
I did too.
This age of dubs isn't bad. It just can sometimes be a little stale. Because there's a period in time where dubs for anime were very hand selected and hand picked and intentional, and then there was a period in time where it started becoming extremely mass produced. And you can tell the difference. It's one of the reasons I say Cowboy Bebop has a very good dub is because it's very, very well done and intentional. And I was expecting the same thing with this show, and I got most of that out of it. It's not a bad dub. So it was also just available on Hulu easily. So
yeah, Hulu is nice. Anything I can watch on that's peachy.
Yeah.
So yeah, how else did they end episode 2? They ended episode 2 where they met up with the corporations and gave the disc. Did they give the disc back to the corporation?
No. What happens is
they gave the disc to that
disc
Russian
to
leader, the Russian
to
mobster
their
lady,
employer, which is the Russian mob, who then trades the disc back to the company they'd stole it from originally because they'd gotten their payment that they requested, right?
Right.
And then the company goes to Rock and goes, "Okay, get in the car. We're gonna go home." Like it's.
I guess
like
you get to live.
And
they
he
called him by like his Japanese name, by the way. Let's make a point of that.
Yes.
And he's like, "Fuck you
no,
guys.
Screw you. My name's Rock. You guys suck. Like you try to murder me."
And I'm a
He
pirate."
literally is like, "You left me to die, and you really like expect me to go with you? Like, what the hell?"
Yeah.
Which is great because it shows that he's immediately grown from being whiny bitch boy to like, I do not have to deal with your garbage anymore.
Yeah.
Which that's the character progression you want.
Yep.
So
yeah, and you know the guy's like, "Okay, whatever," and he's like, they leave. So it's an interesting dynamic there.
And then they go home. They go back to like their home base, which is a town. What is it called? Did they say what it was called? It's like a port city.
I know it has a name. I forget if they mentioned it in that episode or not.
It's basically like a lawless.
It's Tortuga 2.0.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yes.
pretty much. Yeah.
That's it.
Or
Tortuga as a concept has always been like a pirate safe haven.
Right.
Yes,
But instead of
it's a pirate mercenary, criminal safe haven is where they've gone.
Yeah, basically.
There's laws, but they're so loose that nobody really follows them, and nobody's getting arrested for stuff they do outside of the area.
Right.
It's basically a live and let live town.
And
But
even if you get arrested, you can kind of probably buy your way out of trouble. It's that type of place. It's like
exactly.
The police are there only really to bother with the most egregious stuff that's going to set the balance that's going on in the society. Not so
exactly.
much laws per se.
Police are there for balance, not for like nitpicking. Like they're not going to give you a parking ticket, but they probably will be like, "All right, well, if you killed the entire mob, we have to do something."
Yeah, or if you're going around and murdering random people who own stores and stuff, they're going to go. Okay.
But a little revenge killing or two isn't going to hurt anybody.
Yeah, or if it's a mob-related one, they're going to like.
Because the mob also it's a balance thing.
Yeah.
So, and if you throw everything out of balance, then everybody gets mad.
Yep.
But that's just how it be sometimes. So you don't think it be like it is, but it do.
Yep.
And so,
episode 3, they're all hanging out at their little apartment in Tortuga. Let's see what I did there. And
Tortuga.
and they're hanging out, and they what's the leader's name? What's his name?
Cherry, what's the leader's name?
There's
Pirates.
The captain
Best
Revy, who we know, the like behind the scenes computer guy. He's basically the operator in the Matrix. He basically handles like comms and stuff like that.
Names.
Yeah, it happens. You're drawing a blank. It's fine.
Either way,
the main character.
Yeah, so
the main guy, the leader of the pirates. Who
you can
is
see
just
him
the best guy.
walk around. He has a conversation with this like scummy crime lord looking dude who's like, "Hey man, you're not working for us anymore." He's like, "Yeah, I don't like you." Clearly, is what he said. And then he gets a phone call about another job. So he goes back to them at their apartment. It's like, "Hey, it's time for us to go. We got work to do." They're supposed to go escort something. I don't remember exactly, but here, needless to say, well, not needless to say, but they end up going out into sea on their boat, which is probably, you could probably put another few crewmates on it. It's not like a very large boat.
It's like I give it a good 28-foot boat, 30-foot boat.
Mm-hmm.
It's got enough. It's got some under the deck areas, which make it seem a lot bigger than it is. But it's pretty much you got your captain's chair, you got a back deck, and you got the nose, and that's pretty much it. You don't have a whole lot of walking around space. You can fish off the back or front if you're bored, but you're not going to be taking this with like your frat party and everybody going on. It's not a yacht. No, it's absolutely not.
It's
35 feet max.
It's yada not. God damn it. I'm sorry. So anyway, they're going out to sea, and then the guy that he was literally just like, "I don't like you" about, starts flanking them because they're coming after him. He hired some goons to come kill them. They figure it out. And then, of course, Revy's like, "I'm an anime main character. I have a grenade launcher. I can jump from boat to boat because I'm an anime character," and just murder everyone single-handedly. That's how it works. She's literally...
They take out the entire fleet just by memeing on them, like, to the point of...
No, not they. They didn't do it. Revy did it.
Well, I want to point out that the boats also killed themselves because they shot at each other.
Oh yeah, and when
there is friendly fire.
And when you reverse a boat, it just immediately like halts, and then that's when they shoot each other, and they of course both shoot at the same time, shooting because when you're fucking flanking an enemy, you of course don't sit in your own friendly fire, which they did, and then he hit the brakes on the boat, which that's how boats work, and then they died, and then. Yep. Yeah, the entire time Rock's like wondering like what happened to Revy in a past life or in her past. He's just like fucking pondering like, I wonder what she's had to deal with her whole life to become this. I
wonder if she has a dark, mysterious past and she's just a woman that needs to be rescued. That'd be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no way we'd put those tropes in this show. I actually, I don't know, but that's like pretty much what's going on in his head, because that's the system that people do is, oh man, woman must be saved.
Well, that's where people tend to think, and I think they're basically with Rock having him run through that because that's a standard thought process for a lot of people.
Yeah, because which is like that's the whole point is showing that like that's not really what it is.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure she dissuades him of that concept very quickly.
Yeah.
In other episodes, so
the reason I'm not like chiming in right now is I did watch a couple episodes afterwards because I was enjoying it. So, and I don't know where my episodes stopped and started, so I'm just like trying to feel out where we're at.
Episode 3 basically covers them getting kind of set up by this guy. The boat's coming after them, getting attacked, and then the guy getting murdered, I believe, by the mob. So,
and
that's pretty much where episode 3 ends.
Yeah, but that's like,
oh, and then the Russian lady. Did you talk about how the Russian lady was like, "Guys, we got it. We got you. Don't worry about it. We took care of it. We murdered him for you."
The Russians murdered.
Is that what you just? I may or may not have said that.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
And so the big thing was everybody on the entire island when the head of the org was walking around. Everybody was like, I hear they're working with the Russian mob now. That means we shouldn't work with them. And then, like, he's just not paying any mind because he doesn't care. Because, why would he when the Russian mob is on their backs, like, covering them? It's just how it be sometimes. So,
I mean, if you can ever become besties with the Russian mob, you should probably do it.
Have you ever listened to Bert Kreischer's "I Am the Machine"?
I Am the Machine. I love.
So this is the story of how I accidentally became a part of the Russian mob. If anybody hasn't seen that, highly recommend it. It's an amazing, hilarious, true story. And the only reason we know it's true is because he's told it like 20 times, and the only details that get added or removed are specific ones for specific audiences. He is so consistent with that story. There's no way it's made up. So, highly recommend.
Got it.
But yeah, so Black Lagoon, is that a recommend from all of us?
Yeah, I'm actually. I'll watch more of it.
Yeah,
Like
if you like action anime, like those older action movies where things are completely over the top. They're not even all that older anymore. You're still getting Fast and Furious stuff. If you like that type of vibe, you're gonna enjoy the show.
Dutch was the name of the guy. His name was Dutch.
Dutch. Okay, what's the tech guy? The techie dude who's like using the computers.
Tech dude, I'll be real.
Yeah. So Dutch is the captain.
Dutch is the captain, and Ronapur was the name of the place.
Yes, Ronapur is the home base.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it. We all like this show.
Yeah, no, it was
cool.
a good pick. The thing is too, this is a show that I was recommended before, like when I was going on like forums asking people what anime I should watch because I was getting into it. Yeah, yes. That's right. I went on forums asking people for recommendations.
That's actually a pretty common thing.
Wow, you've grown so much as a weeb, Comfy.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
We don't need to talk about how much I have though.
But
I'm in denial.
It's a show that doesn't get a lot of attention.
It really does not.
Oddly enough, especially considering the pedigree of the people who made it, where Cowboy Bebop is like the most recommended show
of all time. Like, it is the get into anime. Yeah,
it's like, oh, you are looking to get into anime? Watch this.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's usually like the two things that I see recommended the most is that and like Sword Art. Not that Sword Art is good, but Sword Art is very accessible.
Sword Art Abridged is good. Sword
Art Abridged is a time and a half.
Oh man. So yeah, we've also already discussed that we're going to be watching Inspector next week to get caught up for that, and then it's going to be the show that we're going to watch weekly.
2 to 5.
Yes.
Next week.
It's going to be one extra episode, but hey, considering that this is the weekly show, that's actually 4 episodes, and that's all of them this week.
Yeah,
so
we're fine.
Yeah, that's their standard. We watch 4 episodes a week thing, so they just usually split between 2 things.
Also, don't watch Interspecies Reviewers. It was hot garbage.
Or do if you like boobs.
Nah, don't. I like boobs. I'm not going to watch that shit.
That's because you're American. You guys are all prudes.
So
the fuck you mean, Copper?
No, Copper has a very strong point where American culture absolutely hates nudity for no reason whatsoever, and the rest of the world has no problem with it.
I know you guys don't tend to think yourself as like, it's like I'm not being prudish. Trust me, to the rest of the world, you are.
Oh, absolutely.
You are extremely prudish to the rest of the world.
No, and the weird thing is, so Americans are super prude about nudity. They are absolutely not about violence. Because and this is my favorite analogy for the machete, right? Danny Trejo, super violent, super gory. The cut for TV version that shows in the middle of the day. So this is the censored version. They cut out a scene where a woman is shirtless in the shower, but they do show her intestines being cut out and used as a rope to jump out of a building. That is accurate, and that's how it was cut for TV. It's weird. So
that would be reversed. Like literally in any other country, that is reversed. It's boobs are fine, intestine jumping out as a rope, no.
Exactly. So that's why like the U.S. is really, really weird. And no matter how much you don't think that you're like that, that's ingrained in your head. I guarantee it. Because violence is just watered down so much here for no reason.
It's a weird cultural thing that is not really thought about or brought up, but it is very much a cultural thing, especially if you go just a little north and go to Canada. Nudity here, not a big deal. Like
it's like most like
I
TV
don't think it's a big deal
Canada
myself
and,
either. The
EU.
issue that I've always had, like we keep fucking bringing up all the time, is context, and context makes sense in this show, but this show was still above and beyond anything that I would watch.
Yeah, we're not. Trust me, we're not pushing it.
Yeah, no. But anyway,
no. This show has a very certain audience, and Dale is not a member of it.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised that Dale was even okay with us doing it.
However, Addison, very much the target audience of this show.
Are we just gonna call out Addison every 5 minutes?
I'm just gonna. Well, for this show, this is definitely an Addison show, 100%.
The poor boy. He's not even here to defend himself.
He's not, but I know the show would be right up his alley, and you do too.
So guys, Man, you know what was announced this week? You know what was announced this week, which is going to be an absolute train wreck, and we're 100% going to watch it?
The new Fast and Furious
Oh,
movie?
the live action.
Live action One Piece.
Yep.
Yeah.
Netflix ordered a 10-episode live action One Piece series with the writer of One Piece on board as one of the head creatives.
I have never seen One
very
Piece.
weird.
I
So-
probably won't ever watch One Piece.
They have done live action versions of stuff before, like Death Note and Full Metal, stuff like that.
Alchemist.
Now, they're not-
Apparently, there's a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure live
There is.
action.
Oh, is
and
there?
we're absolutely watching it.
So the thing is, Netflix normally doesn't produce these themselves.
Right.
They're made in Japan and that, and because there is an audience for them, they do okay-ish. But they're usually pretty bad in comparison to the anime. They change stuff, blah blah blah. Like the Death Note one, for example, is awful.
Uh-huh.
It absolutely changes almost everything good about the anime. The only thing that they keep is the Death Note.
The other thing of
And
note is that
Ryukyu's good.
they're always movie length. It's a movie length reproduction, right? So they kind of squish stuff together and things like that. Here, they're doing an actual show, like a live action show version, which is very strange. 'Cause it's very much outside the norm.
So there has been one other live action, or two others that I have heard about that were actually very well received. Both of them, one of them being Erased, or Boku Dake Gai Inaimachi, which is the town where everyone lives but me, I think is what it directly translates to, which is an amazing show. I absolutely recommend it. And apparently the live action version was very one-to-one with the show and held up very well. Same thing from Mob Psycho 100, but in a very different way, because Mob Psycho 100 is an entire mood as a show.
Oh, the thing's a psychedelic trip.
And they 100% keep that mood in the live action and don't water it down, which is why it's well received.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and then there's the Bleach live action movie, which was received as well as the show, because the ending of that and the show is both cliffhangery. So you did not like Erased live action. There you go.
Yeah, the live actions are always a mixed bag with people. They tend to attract people who are into anime more than those who are. So because that's kind of the market they're going for. They're trying to grab some anime fans and then people who aren't into anime because it's animation.
Exactly.
And there are people that if it's something done in animation, it turns them off. That's just the thing. It's a big thing in Western culture, especially.
Well, especially like with the Oscars coming up or just happening, because I don't remember. Anime almost every single year gets snuffed because the culture of animation in the US it's for kids. And you guys ready to be angry at how like movies like Your Name got completely snuffed? Basically what happened was the people reviewing it would ask their kids, what do I watch off of this list? Because they figured the rest of it wasn't worth their time. So a majority of the movies just don't even get watched.
Yeah, which is asinine.
tragic,
Like if
and
you're supposed to be reviewing something, because the thing is, there aren't that many animated movies produced every year. There's really not, especially they're going to be up for Oscar nomination or consideration. So watch every goddamn movie on there, especially if it's your job. Like, guys, come on now.
Guys, Your Name was up for Oscars against Boss Baby.
Yeah, Boss Baby, which I'm pretty sure is the one that won the Oscar.
It did. That's why I'm bringing up that one specifically. And you know why? Because it's the only one they watched, because they saw something scary and wouldn't do it. Which, listen, if your job is to review all of the movies, watch all the movies. They even do this for live action movies for Western culture, because there's so many that come out from so many different varieties. They will straight up ask directors and producers what movies are worth watching, and they will say those 3 are worth watching, the other 5 are not, and they don't even do due diligence to watch them. And it's pathetic and saddening, and I hate it.
Yeah, it's why the Oscars are kind of a joke.
Yeah, it's why nobody respects them. Like, it's a popularity contest.
Yeah,
we all know this, and that's what sucks. And there are some movies, don't get me wrong, and some actors absolutely deserve to win Oscars and they're absolutely supposed to be winning these awards. But for the most part, it's an absolute farce.
Yeah, and the only reason Ghibli is allowed to win Oscars for anime versus other studios is because they had a connection to Disney, and
it's
that's
literally
why people,
Disney.
And that's why people recognize their name. They're like, oh, they're the people who are connected to Disney. We have to recognize Disney because they own fucking everything.
Exactly. It's because Disney has the distributing rights in the West. Which why is it not on Disney Plus? Why are they putting it on HBO Max?
Because that is a new thing. They signed a contract somewhere else.
Yes, but I think it would have, if Disney had Ghibli on Disney Plus, they would have gotten so much traction from the anime community as a whole.
Yes, they would have. Oh, I would have loved the fact if Ghibli was on there. Are you kidding me?
Oh, absolutely. And
awesome.
Considering that Disney Plus is not, it's not a bad program, but it's very lacking right now.
The problem probably comes from the fact that Disney owns the distribution rights for DVDs, movies, and television.
Yeah.
Streaming services are not covered under those old contracts. And such, the studios are allowed to seek other opportunities, or they had that particular piece blot out. For example, why is the original Muppet Show not on Disney Plus?
Because it was produced by another company.
Because Disney doesn't have the distribution rights to it.
Yep.
So another company does, and they don't want to sell the rights to Disney. That's what it comes down to. Rights, distribution rights. It's a thing. Like, though why some company wouldn't sell the rights to Disney, I don't understand. Like, they will pay you a good bit of money for stuff. Like,
hey, how much did Disney pay for Marvel when it was still worth close to nothing?
$8.
Let's be real, because Marvel, Disney saw the value in Marvel, and Marvel did not have value of itself at this point in time. How much did they pay for it?
I don't know. I have no idea.
$4 billion.
Yep.
That's as much as they paid for Star Wars.
To buy everything as, lock, stock, and barrel. So
yes.
Yeah.
No, Disney as a company is 100% an evil corporation that needs to be stopped. Don't get me wrong. But
I don't even think they're evil. They're just a corporation. That's
you're right. Those words are synonymous.
Basically, yeah.
The thing with corporations is that any corporation, well, I should say any American corporation, because you guys have certain laws that kind of force their hand, has to act in a certain way. Period. They are legally required to make the most money possible, even if it fucks over people, because the law requires it of them.
The law requires them to produce for shareholders, not for consumers.
Yep. So it doesn't matter if it hurts the environment. It doesn't matter if it's ethically unsound. It doesn't matter if it would, bring hate upon them or discrimination. It's as long as it's legal, and as long as it makes the most money for its shareholders possible, and that's what they have to do. They have to maximize profits. They're following the law. If they're not technically following the law, and they get in trouble.
Mm-hmm. It's stupid, and we hate it. And trust me,
and things would be less bad if, according to another one of your asinine old laws, and this is an old law and ruling, if companies were not considered people.
Oh, absolutely. That's the dumbest law, thing.
American corporations are considered people and have
pigs
all the
is
rights.
A vegetable.
And have all the rights therein. It's stupid. It's really, really stupid. You can thank a corrupt court system and some corrupt railroad barons for that, because that's where that comes from.
You guys want to discuss, while we're on this roll of hating the U.S., want to talk about American healthcare and how it screwed me over this week?
Oh, did it?
Oh God. No.
Yeah. So I have to get a very fun treatment for my medical condition, which sucks, and my insurance denied it because there's a cheaper option that will probably not work. So me and my doctors are dealing with that, and we're trying to apply for another alternative treatment right now. But basically, I've been 3 months without treatment since my diagnosis because of this.
Oh, Lord.
So I'm having a great time.
Yeah. That sucks.
Wow, we got off on a tangent here.
We did. We basically scrapped.
Standard for us.
We basically scrapped one of the shows this week. So yeah, this week will probably end up being relatively shorter because of it.
This will be a shorter episode for those who are listening.
We're not covering porn, basically. So
not because we hate fun.
I do. apparently. You guys all
Yes,
think
you
I
do,
hate
but,
fun.
like, all right. But hey, so what have you guys been up to this week? Doing anything fun?
No,
I have
normal
been
stuff.
playing anime waifu Dark Souls Simulator.
Yes, Copper also convinced me to play Weeb Souls, so I bought it. I have it. I have to download it. I'm gonna be
Copper
playing.
convinced me to play Weeb Souls. He bought it for me. I did download it.
Wait. Oh, you too? No, I. What the fuck, Copper? I had to buy my own copy. Wow.
Yeah, you did.
Wow. What a I'm just kidding. That's fine.
You have money and a job. Copy has neither of those things.
Hopefully, I have some temp work tomorrow night, so we'll see.
I won't be.
yeah.
I'll be diving into that on Wednesday because Tuesday we get the like Destiny thing where we all have to contribute our fractal line.
Yes,
we'll be done on
So
Tuesday.
I'm gonna be doing that on Tuesday. Destiny will be a Destiny day, or Tuesday will be a Destiny day, and then there's going to be Wednesday and Thursday of me doing Weeb Souls. Friday for beers night, we're gonna be playing Call of Duty. So
Ooh, which one?
the newest one, yeah. Yeah, it's the only game I added to that list because I made a rule like only cheap games or free games, but I know that there's a huge chunk of the community that already own this game, so I made an exception.
Makes sense. That's fair.
Yeah, because I already know that we already have like 4 people that are like, yeah, I'm in. So like, hey, that's basically a full party.
I'll play.
Okay, cool. There you go. So yeah,
Modern Warfare is a great time with buds, but it like playing multiplayer normal can just be so infuriating.
Yeah, but especially with like just having some beers and chilling out, like that's gonna be a great time. It'd be great for that. So yeah, that's gonna be a fun time. That's basically my week, and then I'll probably play more Weeb Souls on Sunday before the podcast.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of Dark Souls with my Penguin guide.
I have,
which has been
your Penguin guide.
I finished Dark Souls 3.
He's been playing with Pengu.
Oh, yeah. Is Pingu carrying him through stuff?
Yeah, Pingu is awesome at carrying me because we were just like walking around and I was just doing stuff, and then he's just like, "Hey, have you ever seen Indiana Jones?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" And then I got killed by a boulder. Like he's doing an excellent job.
Yeah.
We finished that. We finished the first DLC as well yesterday, which was kind of a joke.
Which DLC? How many DLCs are for Dark Souls 3? Is there 2?
There's 2. The first one is almost universally disliked. The second one is almost universally acclaimed.
What was the first one?
So,
what's the first one?
I forget I don't remember what it's called, but you basically go into like a painted world and you run around and
yeah. No, that one wasn't that great. The boss fight was a huge fucking just like dick kicker.
I enjoyed the final boss fight, but everything leading up to that, those boss fights weren't great,
Yeah.
and the level of like map design was just so not good in my opinion as well.
Right.
And I'm very, very open about my opinions on games. Like, ask me about Kingdom Hearts 3, which I also finished.
It was fantastic, and you loved every minute of it, right?
Actually, I did really enjoy the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Okay.
I will concede the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 was... Listen, the last like 8 to 10 hours of Kingdom Hearts 3 were legitimately enjoyable and very fun. The first 40 hours made me want to die over and over and over again. If there is any reason for your game to have full-length Frozen songs in it that you cannot or should not skip through because they throw plot into it randomly, like, let's stop. Just stop. Like, I don't.
I wish they hadn't done that.
Comfy. I feel like you just need to let go of your anger.
Are you telling me to let it go?
I am telling you to let it go.
Because you can't hold me back anymore?
Yes. We're all terrible. We're terrible. We suck.
Not terrible.
I'll be the good girl I always have to be, all right? It was an entire mood. It did get good. I also finished Control. Like, I'm actually finishing my games.
Good job.
That's good.
Proud of you.
I finished.
It's amazing.
Have you guys finished Control yet?
I haven't
played it. I probably won't.
Dude,
yeah.
It seems good. It's just, yeah. Yeah, good job on finishing a game. My name's Comfy and I beat games. What? Did I beat the game No, I didn't. The last game I started...
Do you know when I started Kingdom Hearts 3?
No idea. How long did it take you?
It came out.
Wait, did you just finish that?
I just finished it like last week.
Oh my lord! Wow.
No,
At this point, like, I can't do that. I'm one of the players where it's like, I haven't played this game in months. Where am I? Start a new game. That's how I do things. Like, that's how I roll.
That's how I've been, but I need to finish things.
Sure.
So what I've been doing is I stick it on the wheel if I haven't finished it yet, and I spin the wheel, and if it lands on it, then I'm playing it and finishing it. And that's how I actually, what happened with Kingdom Hearts 3 was I was yelling at chat about it, and I was about to get offline. Like, I was getting ready to turn off my stream, and somebody was like, Kingdom Hearts 3 isn't that bad. I was like, oh yeah, I'll prove it. And man, I played like 3 hours of Kingdom Hearts 3 with just ripping it apart. And then somebody was like, well, now you have to add it to the wheel. I started Kingdom Hearts 3 out of spite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, that's what it was. And that's not a joke. I started it out of spite. And then that happened. So it was a good time. I did actually enjoy it once it got to the Kingdom Hearts part and Disney wasn't a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, just get rid of Disney, and that was a great game. But
makes sense, Pingu. It's my fault. Pingu blames
always.
Dale. All right. Anything?
I'm trying to think of anything else that I have to rant about this week.
Yeah, the Destiny thing is coming, but I don't think it's.
Make sure you don't spend spend all your fractaline to upgrade your obelisks.
Since you don't play Tarkov, Pingu, I will play more Tarkov at some point. Maybe, probably, maybe.
I just don't think the Destiny thing is going to take very long. Like,
no. Well, the thing is, if we want
to take a couple weeks because the community's already min-maxed. Like, the community, I don't know if you guys have been browsing any of the subreddits or forums.
Well, I mean, for the individual stuff, like, the thing is, like, I don't care about the community goal. Like, I do not give a shit, because it's not part of the title. So,
right. Copper doesn't want to be a part of the community. You heard it.
So for me, it's just like, I want to get the title done, which means this coming Tuesday, you can get the last bits of it done, which is 5,000 fractaline, killing the new boss that comes out for Sundial, and doing that legendary. So once that's done, I'm kind of done with this season. Like,
yeah,
that's it, because there's
nothing else.
Yeah, there's nothing else for me to do this season. Like, like Crimson Days comes out after that. Okay, I don't care. I haven't played Crimson Days since D1. Like,
yeah, and I've been single since so
like D1 year one, like the first year they did it was the only time I played Crimson Days. Other than that, I was like, nah.
Yep.
Don't care. Like, I don't like 3v3. Why the fuck would I want to play 2v2s?
I actually do like the dynamic of 2v2 a lot, but the problem is that the way they're doing Crimson Days, if they don't do it elimination like it's supposed to be, then it's not going to be fun. Like, when in Destiny 1, when it was Crimson Days 2v2 elimination, I thought it was amazing, but then in this, they kind of were like, oh, hey, it's Crimson doubles, but it's not elimination because we don't have that game mode.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of elimination because I like the playstyle of it.
I also don't like elimination, so just like the fact we know that Trials is coming back.
Wow, who could have seen it coming?
Well, almost not confirmed, but it's pretty well speculated.
It's pretty much confirmed.
I can tell you it's confirmed. Like, it's happening.
Oh, I feel like it is. I really do feel like it is.
I don't care. Like, I really, really do not. Like, I didn't like Trials originally. I thought it was not a fun game mode. I thought it was dumb. Especially for D2 when it came out, Trials of the 9, it was even worse than the original Trials, which is saying a lot. It's also pointless. There's no reason to play it.
There's all kinds of loot to get that you can only get there.
Yeah, but none of it's good.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
I mean, it might be. There was good stuff in D1 though.
If they get good loot again, and that's the thing too, is from what I've heard.
But that also poses
Bungie asked, "What do you want?" And it's like, I want the loot. I want to be able to show off what I did, because Trials in Destiny 1, everybody wanted to finish it and get the adept guns, the dope armor, and the emblem that said, "I'm better than you." And that's what people want.
Yep.
And the problem with Trials of the Nine in D2 was it was a lot of handouts, and there wasn't a whole lot of that cool stuff. There was an emblem, but it wasn't enough.
Right.
And so if they bring that back with whatever they do for Trials this time, that'll be great. But it's a question of what they do.
They can't put super great weapons behind going flawless, because then you have a very, very, very small subsection of the community who will ever get them, like minuscule compared to the size of the community. And that's just going to make the larger community mad. And that's a bad move from a company standpoint. Putting certain stuff behind.
I think they should.
The problem is they can, but if they're so much better than other weapons, it's just going to cause salt in the community, where PvP is in not a great spot for Destiny.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it's also a game mode in Destiny that is not played by religiously by the majority of the player base. The majority of the player base only plays PvE. Rarely ever touches PvP, which is why Bungie keeps trying to force people into it. They're like, play this other stuff we're making too. And people are like, I don't want to. I don't play this game for that.
So funny enough, I'm a very outspoken PvE player. I never play Crucible, or hardly ever. I don't super enjoy it. I like custom games with buds. I think that they're hilariously fun, but I don't go in competitively. I don't play comp a whole lot. I do it every once in a while to get my bounties done or to get my ritual weapons. I played Trials of Osiris every single weekend from when it launched in House of Wolves to when it was removed at the end of Age of Triumph. I don't know what the appeal was that drew me to it, but I can tell you as a PvE player, I loved Trials and I loved pushing myself and trying to become better. Now, that I am not everybody, but I can tell you right now that if they brought that back, there is a lot of people that don't play PvP right now at all that would come back to.
Oh yeah, for sure. But at the same time, the PvP meta right now is kind of rough.
The problem is
the sandbox is not great.
It's not.
The sandbox is not great, and there's not that many PvP people. Yeah, there's some PvP people who'd come back. It's like, oh, Trials is back. I'll come play again. And you'd have some streamers come back for it. But by and large, that's a very small subsection. Like, you're looking at less than 10% of the community.
Yeah, but the thing is,
now,
Bungie's at a point right now, they need that.
Should they aim at certain smaller subsects for stuff? Sure. Raids are the same way. The number of people who've completed a raid overall in Destiny is like sub 10%.
Less than that. Like I can pull.
That's what I mean. It's less than 10%, and it's the same thing for Trials, right? It's the same. They're targeting that same type of subsection. The problem is, and raids have the same thing, is if you lock certain things behind them that are much better than anything else in the game, it causes issues with the larger player base who can't do those things either because of skill, connection, not knowing enough people, because you need to know people for raids.
Yes, that
whatever the reason is, right? Like there's a whole, and same thing with Trials. You kind of need to know people for Trials as well. So there's this balance they've got to do, which is why the best thing they can do for Trials and the best thing they can do for raids is give us stuff that looks cool, but is not functionally better than other things.
So I have a point that I want to make, but first I want you to know that I alt-tabbed back into Destiny, came out of my menu, Marisov's Tiggle Biddies is running across my screen.
Yep.
So what I was going to say is the easiest fix for this, right? You ready? Make the farm an LFG space. Make the farm an LFG space with 3 boards.
Yeah.
All right. You get 3 boards. You have a PvP and a Gambit board. You can go to the PvE board and you will have lists for Nightfalls, Raids, Sundial, Legend Menagerie, stuff that you can't matchmake for, but you still want to do. And then you can go over to the PvP board and you can have casual, competitive, hardcore, comp, grind for legend, grind for ritual weapons. You can go to Gambit board and have hate yourself a little less, and hate yourself in colored armor. Like, you can have these options. And it's And now this is a lot of back end work and it does take a lot of effort, and Bungie might be working on it. We don't know, but there is some level of fix that needs to happen to make it more accessible to create groups in game. Because I can tell you right now, I don't use my clan for anything, not anymore.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
a lot of the people don't even play anymore. Like if you want me to go look, we had a 100 people clan, offline, just everybody. Like, because a lot of people, like, I go to LFG discords now.
There needs to be more. So the content in Destiny isn't bad. The problem is that there's not enough endgame content that's not 6-player or PvP focused.
Mm-hmm.
So they either have to add in an LFG service, which I don't know why the game doesn't.
There's guided games, but it's not perfect.
Guided games is a really, really bad
Guided games
of a good
is still in beta. They have not touched it. They have not updated it in years. And is basically only there because they haven't bothered to take it out of the game. Because at that point, if they take it out, people are going to complain that they're taking it out.
So the problem with guided games, also just to poke some holes in it, is it doesn't give you a selection of who you're choosing. It just randomly matches you up. Yep. And the way that it works is if you get matched up with someone and your game drops, you get a negative mark, and now you have to wait longer next time you try to do it. You cannot rejoin the game because it's a guided game and it's a specific set of matchmaking. And if you are doing a guided game to try to carry somebody else, you get screwed over because if you get dropped or if they leave, you get a bad mark as well.
Yeah.
So, and now all of this is supposed to be AFK protection, drop protection, basically making it so that you can't load in and grief and then leave. But the problem is that with unstable servers and a lack of reconnection, it just ends up bricking the game so that you can't do what you need to do.
Or if you're, let's say you live on the West Coast, like some of our buddies do, and
like me,
you decide to load up for a guided game at 6 a.m. your time because you're up at 6, you've got the day off, you're like, screw it, I'll run a raid. I'm going to run through guided games. You get matched with people in Japan.
Yeah, that can happen. And it's peer-to-peer as well, or it's peer-to-peer to server. So
you've now got issues with a language barrier. You've now got issues with being connected to people who are super far away from you, and there will be lag, I can guarantee.
And also
Destiny servers work.
The in-game voice systems in Destiny are not great. Like, they exist, but they're not anything super nice or special.
Yeah.
And the problem being that if you join into a guided game, 50% of the time it's going to be join our Discord. And if you don't want to do that, then you're screwed. Or it's going to be, if you're trying to match with someone to take them through a raid, like you have 5 people and you're trying to get that 6th, then you load up guided games and that person doesn't have a mic. They can't communicate. They expect that this is going to be a nightfall. They don't understand that there's mechanics. Like, there's so many issues with guided games as a whole that's why we need like a bounty board system for matchmaking.
And to add to that, for people like, well, bounty boards, that's kind of, that's harder to do. They had bounty boards in Phantasy Star Online 2.
If you make a list,
old game.
If you make a list of people that you can join in, then you can browse it more efficiently, and you can see tags such as casual, hardcore, speedrun. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you can do to put ease on it, but it just takes like 3 more steps. And that's the issue, is a lot of the time you don't do those 3 more steps.
Right.
These aren't new. Like, this isn't a new concept, especially for something that's supposed to be in the vein of an MMO.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that is like, there's no excuse about why it's not in the game. It's just, and Bungie for a long time has relied on outside services. They have not bothered really fixing their own. I get it. There's limited resources. You can only do so much, but
especially now that they're not a part of Activision.
But if you want to make content like that's aims at a small subsection, and you need to group with people, such as trials, such as raids, such as the legendary version of things like Sundial.
Yeah, endgame activity.
You need to have a way for people to group together, or barring that, you need to make more endgame activities that are either you can do solo, that have matchmaking in game, so you can randomly sort with people, or they're 3 people, because most people at least know one other person who can play with stuff, and most things in Destiny, if it's a 3-person activity, you can do 2. You can do it with 2 people.
Yes. Just one other person makes it easier.
So, like, these are things they've got to consider. Like, I'd love to see more 3-person end game, like actual end game PvE activities. Like, that would be great. Like, the whole. Like
the problem right now is that we're having a very strong lack of balance, because it used to be only 3-person, but we wanted more 6-person casual activities that we could also do endgame.
Yep.
And now we're getting only 6-person casual activities for endgame, and we're not getting that hardcore 3-person experience.
They keep swinging too far to one side to the other. They need to kind of sit in the middle. It's like, look, you have a big community, because there are a lot of people who play Destiny. There's a lot of people who love the game for a good reason. And it's a very varied community about what people enjoy. Now, when you start looking at numbers, more people like PvE than PvP, and people want endgame stuff because everybody gets to the endgame in this game, because you can't help it. You are gonna get to the endgame in this game. Like, there's
right. I mean, it
just occurs.
That's the game is meant to be at an end.
Endgame is not very far in this game, to be honest.
No, it's not hard to get an endgame in Destiny. So that means you need the grind for new gear, for guns, random rolls on stuff needs to be enjoyable. It needs to have activities that are fun, regardless of what the rewards are, so people just enjoy playing them. And they need to be.
I'm running strikes right now for no rewards, and I'm having a great time.
Yeah, and they need to be rewards that are. If an activity is for rewards, they need to be rewards that are useful outside of one certain thing. So take Reckoning, for example. Reckoning, not a bad thing. However,
I love Reckoning. It's such a fun activity.
But what's its reward system? Well, it's only good for Gambit.
Reckoning gives you armor specifically for Gambit Prime, so you can go play Gambit Prime and get more things so that you can run more Reckoning and get more armor for Gambit Prime. Reckoning is an amazing and cool activity, but because it's been looped into Gambit Prime so hard, it just...
That's the problem. People don't want to play because they're like, well, there's nothing here for me to get, even, somewhat, because this armor is only good for this thing. Armor is the main drops for everything.
Yes.
And
now there are weapons, and people do farm it for spare rations and other weapons.
Yes.
But the problem being that there's not enough of a push for those weapons, because the entire mode is advertised as get your armor for Gambit Prime.
Yeah, and that's what the majority of the rewards are. So there's the problem. Like, it's like, well, we want people, to get into this feedback. Like, when they were talking about, like, we want people to get in this loop where they're going Reckoning, going into Gambit Prime. It's like, cool. But what happens if I don't like Prime?
This is actually this is probably the biggest issue with Season of the Drifter as a whole. But this is perfect, because my brother, right, he absolutely detests Gambit. He does not like it. He does not enjoy it. And I told him, like, when he was getting back into it, he was like, okay, so what's Reckoning? I was like, oh, Reckoning's amazing. It's super cool. You'll absolutely love it, but you're never going to do it. And he's like, why? I'm like, because the reason for it is the loop to Gambit Prime. He's like, yeah, I hate that.
Yep.
And he played it once, and he said, this is one of the coolest activities they've done. It gives you awesome lore on the 9. It's an awesome space. It's very fun. It's casual, but also competitive. It's a 4-person activity, so you can do it with a good group of friends. And I think that 4 is a good number for it. It's a unique activity, and that is PvE with 4. But he did it once, and it's like, yeah, there's no reason for me to do that again, because I'm not going to be grinding Gambit Prime armor, because I hate Gambit. And that's like, it's such a cool activity, but it alienates a good chunk of it, because the current environment with Gambit isn't great. And I think also Gambit needs another pass to get like more help, because I was talking about this in other people's streams the other day, is like, Gambit Prime is cool. There's 4 maps. There's 1 mechanic. There's 3 bosses.
It needs more
content,
random
variety.
Like, there should be.
Like, it needs more variety.
It does. Like,
and
why? Like,
is that difficult? Yes.
But they've also taken things out of the game that added variety as well, like Rift, for example.
Oh, please bring back Rift.
That'd be great.
Listen,
Rift was a mode that appealed to people who didn't even like PvP all that much, because it had a objective that they could play the objective and still win the game.
It was Destiny's version of Griffball, and Griffball is my favorite thing from Halo.
So, like, there's some things they've done that, I just kind of wish they'd change their stances on.
Oh yeah.
And I just hope they don't lock a bunch of stuff behind trials that people are going to be like, oh, you need this to do this type of thing. Like, we had enough of that mentality with the fucking Gjallarhorn. Like,
Oh my
Bungie knows
God.
it, the community knows it. Like, just stop doing stuff like that. Stop putting like super great stuff that is like behind some either super RNG or behind some super high end activity, because it just creates issues in the community.
So, and to the Gjallarhorn point, I want to point out I was a sword bearer for the Crota raid during the height of Dark Below. I had people, I want to point out this, I had people in my messages DMing me on days I wasn't playing asking for a sword bearer because I was running around the community constantly doing it and looping it because I loved it. If I was not getting invited to a game, I couldn't get into one because I didn't have Gjallarhorn. I had Humble Crota, which is Gjallarhorn 0.5, does the exact same thing and works exactly as well for the exact situation we were doing. You also only need 2 Gjallarhorn rockets and you have 5 people shooting. So the people who are circle jerking that you need Gjallarhorn are just stupid. Yeah. It's a dumb concept, and I've never used it in my raid LFG posts when I did stuff because it's an RNG lock behind the game. Say somebody wants to raid for the first time and they don't have those guns.
Yep. Like, what are you going to do? Like, everybody starts somewhere.
Exactly. So, I did, however, get Gjallarhorn at 1 a.m. from the secret chest in Vault of Glass.
Nice.
So,
what I think Bungie should do is the rewards you lock behind these activities should mostly be cosmetic.
Oh, absolutely.
Because then you can show off that I've done this and you haven't, kind of thing, right? It's super in the face. It's super hard to miss. Make them, big and flashy. Like, give them the best looking armors. Yeah, give them the best looking armors in the game, stuff like that. But don't make it so that
make the armor ornaments too, please.
That the stats are hugely better.
Well, even this season, the stats for the armor that you get by playing this season are insane.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yes.
Like, so just the relevant armor that I've put on from the seasonal armor is 66, 66, 64, and then I haven't gotten my helmet yet. That is insanely high stat rolls.
Yeah,
and they're giving them to you for free.
Yep, just by playing. Yeah.
The other thing they can do, and they've got a little away with this with like Benedict, is that, and I know people hate the coin system, but the thing about the coin system is it let you buy, like, if they make a system where you can grind at something to get the weapons associated with that thing that you want, it's better than locking them behind, going flawless or finishing the raid. Because then you can still work towards getting that thing. It still shows a large commitment to that activity to get that item.
I think so. Here's my perfect scenario.
And it lets anybody get there.
No, so here's the perfect scenario for how they do this. You have your trials weapons, right? And you can get those by playing trials. Then you have a curated role that you cannot get unless you go flawless. What this does is it allows everybody to get decent rolls on the gun, and the curated role might not even be the best one.
They usually
a lot of people.
It's the thing.
they sometimes are bonkers good, and they're sometimes not. But the thing is, you can have a curated role, and now what you can do is, if you get that curated role, you can show that off and be like, I'm better than you. But you still aren't getting locked out of it. And this is what I would consider an evolution of the adept weapon system, which they can't really do now because of the system with energy versus kinetic. Yeah. But the adept weapon system was, you could get any trials gun, or Prison of Elders worked the same exact way. You get any trials gun, but if you got flawless, then you got the adept version of it, which was an elemental roll. So you would have you would get a kinetic hand cannon, or if you got flawless, then you could roll for an energy hand cannon of some kind. And that energy was randomized. So you could get a solar or an arc or a void, which was awesome. Like that's so cool. But they can't do that anymore just because of the way that they did it.
Yeah, I think they need to look at the reward system and, you know, take another look under the hood and see how they're rewarding stuff for super hard end game activities. Because if they want to drive people to play them, putting those rewards behind them, like the thing, their thought thinking is, and it's pretty common for a lot of games and a lot of developers, that if we put this super cool thing behind this, people are going to want it, so they're going to play it. Yeah, but
if it's not fun, they won't do it.
90% of the people who want that thing aren't going to be able to get that thing because of XYZ, right?
Yeah.
Or combination thereof.
And there was a big backlash, obviously, with like Recluse and Luna's Howl, Not Forgotten being behind the comp barrier, so that casual players were unable to achieve the weapon.
Yeah. And you'd have people who, like, and then on top of that, they made them so good that, like, Recluse and Mountaintop are so much better than every other weapon in that slot when they first came out.
Oh, it was
like, it was ridiculous. Like it was like, why would you, especially for Mountaintop, it's like was the best DPS weapon for PvE, and they locked it by PvP. It's like, what was your thinking? You want?
I don't
to play
think
PvP?
they expected that to become what it became, though.
Well, that's the thing. That comes down to not testing properly. Then, and that's still on them.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I'm not going to give them that out like they didn't expect it. They made the weapon as is with the perks it has, and they know what the other main perks of the game are for different classes and stuff like that. So that comes down to the fact they did not test it in a proper way to define the stuff out. And yeah, I know they only have so many people to test, but it didn't even take a day for people to realize this once they got their hands on Mountaintop.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of you have so much time to test, but then even then you miss the obvious things.
Yep.
Which I know you test for bugs very often, but like when you test for things, it's majority of your testing is you're looking for bugs. But one of the other big things you should be testing for is if something is actually balanced, because that's the two main things of testing: is it balanced, is it broken? If the answer is yes to one and no to the other, you're good to go. The problem with things like Mountaintop and Recluse is it was no and no. So it wasn't broken, but it wasn't balanced.
Yeah, it was we're at a crossroads in Destiny right now.
Yep. Yeah. Welcome to the Destiny podcast. Hello. This was we definitely ranted about Destiny
welcome to the 2.5 Guardians podcast.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they learned their lesson though for next season. Because if it's focused around trials, it's gonna fuck them.
Oh, it's going to be.
I'm keeping the faith that they're not going to only do a PvP season.
We'll see.
I hope not, because if they do, it's I'm not playing it. Like, that's 100%. I will not play Destiny for 3 months until the next season comes out after that, because I do not care.
Yeah.
And a large segment of the population of Destiny are going to be like, I don't care. Like, I don't care enough to play the story for this. I'll play it when the next season comes out, when I have actual other stuff to do with it.
Right.
So, because the reaction to Joker's Wild should have taught them their lesson, and if it didn't, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
we also have new stuff coming out in Monster Hunter. I believe it's this week.
I still need to play more Monster Hunter. I haven't done
Is the
event over?
No, the event keeps going. New stuff actually comes out on PC for the Monster Hunter event on the 5th. So 3 days from now, on Wednesday.
Cool.
Including
when does the event end?
The very best cat outfit. I'm not sure. I think it's a week after that. I think it's like the week of the 10th. I think is when it's over.
That's what I thought. I just I need to get my Wiggler head.
Oh, it's not only the Wiggler head you need to get. There's a whole Wiggler outfit for your cat that you need to get.
I'm gonna. You know what? Actually, I kind of like my cat because he just looks like a monstrosity.
I want my cat to look like a Wiggler in a pot welding a piece of coral.
Nice.
You know what? That's not a bad goal to have.
Yeah.
That's the set for the cat. So I'm like, I want that.
That sounds pretty funny.
It's actually a community designed.
Nice. That's cool.
Set too.
I like that,
because they hold competitions every so often to design weapons or cosmetic stuff. And
the armor for the like glowy space armor is actually community created as well, isn't it?
I believe so. So That's cool. Like they do stuff like that. So we've got that coming out.
Kind of like the Warframe does do.
We've got Code Vein. The three of us are going to be diving into.
How many players is Code Vein multiplayer?
Let me check.
Oh, I didn't know there was multiplayer in that.
Yeah, it's full co-op.
Oh,
there's full co-op. I've heard two, but if
think
there's more,
I wasn't expecting to do anything co-op. I don't know. It seems like the game is not nearly. I've heard is not nearly as hard as Dark Souls because you do get the AI companion, as it is. So like it's not.
Is it a waifu companion though?
It can be. You can choose between a bunch of different ones, from what I understand.
Yeah, you can choose your different companion, and it is one person else with you, so 2 people together.
Okay. Yeah, that's not super broken. But yeah, that sounds. I've downloaded Code Vein. I'm really excited to go through the character creator for 18 hours.
Yeah,
it is. I spent a long time in the character creator. I spent even more time in the character creator when I started putting in some mods.
I need to decide if I'm going to be going for small girl or for thick jiggly.
So if you want thick jiggly, you need to
mod it so there's butt jiggle physics.
No, you need a mod in the thickness.
Yep.
There's set body types for the game. There's no sliders for things as of yet. They have updated the character creator over time. Mm-hmm. So because of that, there is still some hope for us getting things like sliders for height and thickness.
I think I'm gonna make a small, cute girl who's just wielding the biggest, baddest sword.
But if you want to go small, you can do that straight off. But if you want to go super thick, like I've shown you guys my character,
there were butt jiggle physics.
That has to be modeled in.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure boob and butt jiggle physics are actually part of the game normally.
Oh, I'm 100% sure. Listen,
so,
I watched Shark's video where he played.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that. That was.
That was a great video.
It was a very good video.
Mostly though, I've been modding in outfits.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, Copper still sends me mods for Monster Underworld.
It's so good.
Listen, I wish I just did the effort. You also sent me you were like, oh, you can play as Jotaro in.
Yes, you can play as Jotaro in Code Vein.
And I was like, is it part 3 or part 4? It was part 3. He's 2 edgelord.
I can't tell the difference, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, the thing is, part 4, he wears a white outfit with dolphins on it.
Okay.
So it's super memey. It's one of my favorite pictures on the internet is when you need an outfit that says I like dolphins, but also I'm ready to measure 90-degree angles at any time. And he's just got a metal pin of a dolphin and a protractor on his chest.
Okay.
It just looks completely ridiculous, and it's awesome.
As a note, you can for the mods you put in for outfits and stuff like that, they are colorable, just the same as the normal options in the game.
Nice.
Which includes a huge set of palettes, multiple palettes of different colors, as well as metallic effects, glow effects, patterns of lace, leather, different types of leather and stuff like that. It's a huge thing. The character creator in Code Vein is super deep. You can pick your eyes. They can be different colors, different shapes.
But do slime girls make it deeper?
There are
right. Well,
so maybe.
We have officially ranted about shit for so fucking long now, way off any sort of topics.
I don't think there's anything else coming out aside from a couple things for Monster Hunter, the Destiny thing, which will be over within a couple of days. I don't think there's any big releases because everything.
No, not really. There's nothing that I'm looking forward to for a long time. So we'll just.
Yeah, well, the things we were looking forward to kind of got pushed till the end of the year. Yeah. So. Which is both good and bad.
Everything got delayed the last couple weeks,
except for Animal Crossing. And
listen, Cyberpunk moved because they were afraid of the Animal Crossing launch. Changed my mind.
Look, if Animal Crossing gets delayed less than a month before it's supposed to launch, people are going to lose their goddamn minds and riot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. We'll see. It might not. So anyway, next week, we'll be covering Inspector, which is going to be fun. Yes, 2 through 5. So we're going to be catching up, and that's going to be the show that we start covering each week.
And hopefully it's good.
It's got to be better.
I've heard, if nothing else, that they're hyping up right now in a good way.
Cool.
That's good.
I would like see how it goes.
I'd like to take a look at Darwin's game too.
Yeah, we can talk
I
about that
actually
one
watched
next,
the
maybe.
first couple episodes, and it was a lot better than I expected.
I've heard some other people mention Darwin's Game as well.
Yeah, it's getting
It's fun.
buzz
It's
as well.
it's very anime. It's Pokemon Go Fight Club.
And I want to.
I'm not even kidding. It's great. It's better than Future Diary.
This week on Cannot Start Us on a wrap up. Yeah.
But listen, I can directly compare it to Future Diary. Like,
yeah, I watched Future Diaries, so I want to look at the comparisons for that when we go over it.
I'm just gonna walk away for 10 minutes while they rant some more.
Well, we can also like next week we can do Darwin's Game or something.
Yeah, that's the hope. All right, so Comfy, where can people find you on the internet?
There you go.
Oh man, if you want to find me, you can find me at mixer.com/Comfamous. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Comfamous. And if you're looking for cool new merch, you can find it at designbyhumans.com/shop/Comfamous. I almost committed to the meme and went with Mr. Vengeance, but I couldn't. However, if you do want to find other merch, you can find it at designbyhumans.com/shop/Mr. Vengeance. Both of us have unique 2.5 Weebs content there that you can find.
There are
highly recommend.
a total of 3 designs out in the wild now, one of which is exclusive to each one of our stores. So if you'd like to get one, check it out.
When I get a store set up.
Yes.
That'll be extra lewd for those who want the extra lewd.
We have the normal.
I have the lewd one, and then we're gonna have Copper just like he's the line.
I don't know, man. We have to approve
Actually, I'm
his
the line, and you guys are on either side of it.
I think we definitely need to
see. I have because I have the bar covering the eyes of my character. Copper's is gonna have the bar covering the boobs. Like, we know how it's gonna be.
Yep. All right. Well,
I'm here for the memes. Hey, Copper, where can people find you?
You can find me online at Copperline Art and Copperline Designs on Twitter and Instagram, or copperlinedesigns.com. In case you're looking for any design work, merch work, stream stuff, or anything that requires a graphic designer, really.
And if you want to see examples of his work, you can go to mixer.com/Comfamous or mixer.com/Mr. Vengeance, or for merch work, you can go to designbyhumans.com/Comfamous or designbyhumans.com/shop/Mr. Vengeance.
Or the Rare Drop store, because I do.
Or the Rare Drop store, or you can check out Mr. Vengeance at these places that you can find him.
Sasha, fuck you, dog. Stop this.
That is not a website. Please don't look it up. Mr. Vengeance, where can people find you?
You can.
Yeah, don't Google that. You're not going to get good results.
Yeah, you can find me at mixer.com/Mr. Vengeance, and you can find me everywhere else at Mr. Vengeance TV. There was a change because now I can have Mr. Vengeance TV across multiple platforms, even the ones that I couldn't before. So there we go. We have that.
Nice.
Speaking of needing a graphics designer, that's gonna have to get updated at some point. I'm not super concerned though. All right, guys, that is going to be it for this week. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you again soon.